Hey YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. I'm putting out a little bit more videos recently. It's just maybe just a little bit less busy, super busy recently. Anyway, this is sorry, let me find my train of thought here. We have some. Well, anyway, the nice thing about doing videos in the daytime is that it's more beautiful, and maybe the downside is that, well, I tend to not want to film other people for my own purposes, unless a person has agreed to talk on video beforehand, all that jazz. So, if I'm just walking along and somebody happens to be in a video, that's probably a different situation depending on what's going on, but I think it's probably okay just to walk around here near where I live and talk about a few things. Anyway, so right off the bat, the first thing I wanted to mention here in this video, again, this is going to be a few different things here. There are a lot of things I just don't give a rip about anymore in life. They're not necessarily a lot different than anything when I was younger. It's just, I don't really, maybe, I don't know, with time I might put less stock in what a lot of people get bothered by. I've noticed, at least for a while, since I've been on YouTube quite a bit for the last several years, and I've noticed that there's really are a staggering number of people on YouTube that are idiots, not just younger people, but a fair number of older folks as well. And when I say idiots, what I mean is it isn't necessarily the lack of understanding or knowledge I'm talking about. It's other things. It's older folks seem to have trouble sometimes with understanding people that are different from them, because they maybe are set more in their way of thinking, and it bothers them when they talk to someone on YouTube that's considerably different from them. I don't know why it would bother them so much. I would think at a certain point in one's life, you just don't give a rip anymore, right? You've been through enough crud, you've had enough hassles in life, you've had enough heartaches, you haven't had enough whatever, you've worked your tail off, hopefully, you've had a good life, and why would you be bothered by some whoever, it's that you feel annoyed by it? So I just find it to be astonishing that it doesn't matter how old you are, there's so many people that need to work on their craniums a bit more on YouTube. Now, that being said, I think one of the reasons why that is, of course, is because a lot of folks that are a little bit sharper in some respects, maybe are working. But during the summer, I think a lot of people have more time off, at least. So, you still have a wide variety of people on YouTube, whether or not they have full-time jobs or not. And everybody has time to use YouTube if they want to. So, I really don't think that that's that big of a factor. But I could use a walk anyway. Just, a while back, I was into Pokemon Go a little bit and got some exercise. This is probably a little bit better to do videos on my phone, talking while I'm getting a little bit of exercise. So, incidentally, some guy put a bunch of bark all over the place near his home, and it smells like manure. It's not nearly as bad as it was a few weeks back, but yeah, you can still kind of smell a little bit. Of course, it isn't the wood that I'm complaining about, it's the other part of that mixture. So, yes, I know, I'm not a country boy, I admit it. So, okay, what are some other thoughts I have here? Well, looking forward to the summer being not going on too much longer as far as the baking hot weather. It got up to 90 today, so there you go. 90 degrees. 90 degrees for me is hot, okay? I know it's not as hot for some of you guys, but it is for me. I might do a little loop here. So what else is on my mind here? Sorry, guys. Oh, there's definitely a lot of other things going on. It's just, I think one of the things that has come across my mind, thoughts recently, is it has something to do with anger. So a while back, I remember subscribing to some folks on YouTube that to me seemed like they made it a point to not be easily upset with other people on YouTube or real life. I mean, they really made it a point. They really made it a point to try to be calm, calmer than most people around them. And they tried to help other people to be calmer as well. Now, it's an interesting topic, and I know I've mentioned certain things before along these lines, but there are many different types of being calmer. And one way of being calmer is maybe having a less stressful life, or doing not as many things in the day, and being, for lack of a better word, lazy, some people say. So, or just not getting so stressed out, not committing to as many things. That's one way of being more peaceful, being more balanced in life, less stressed out. Another way of being more peaceful is simply by having a really good character, and good character is probably the biggest influence on one's own peacefulness, and radiating that peacefulness to the people, I would think, or other people feeling that kind of peacefulness. Now, there's some things that are more personality related, perhaps, that can interfere with the tendency. Sorry, somebody's mowing the lawn. There's some things that can interfere, perhaps, with the degree to which other people are more at peace around certain kinds of people. Some people are worrywarts. Other people are always thinking about what they need to be doing, like the gentleman who's mowing the lawn, which is probably a good thing. Some people just have a lot of stress, or a lot of things they have to take care of. Some people have to have something that they're doing, or they feel lazy. They haven't done a whole lot. You can just keep going. Some people are just easily bothered by things like mosquitoes and hot weather. For me, if the temperature gets to, I just feel like jello after a certain point, and it's hard to do things. It's hard to think straight. That breeze just feels amazing. I don't know what it is. I've been down this trail before, this route. It's very nice, but a little stream there. So, yeah, I mean, peacefulness. Where does it come from? When do you have to, I don't know. I mean, like, yes, there is the the hippie mushroom smoking kind of train of thought with someone being kind of everything's okay, you're okay, I'm okay, just smoke some mushrooms kind of thing. And, you know, there's all kinds of variations on that, but it's just kind of pales in comparison to someone who actually is a very kind, peaceful kind of person. That's the most important ingredient. It's good character and not having a chip on your shoulder. Well, that too, actually. If someone is upset or troubled by many things, that can interfere with their peace, perhaps. But, you know, which is a question of what occupies your thoughts and why. Sometimes it can be very difficult to manage one's thoughts. And I think a lot of folks still don't understand why it is that we feel these really intense, unpleasant emotions at times. There are people that, you know, whether it's a spiritual, emotional, or chemical, or whatever it is, reason why some people have very severe ups and downs. I myself have some ups and downs myself. So I have to do things to try to keep those downs from getting too down. But there are people that are, I wouldn't say depressed, I think they're just people that are experiencing very strong mood swings. And this world is so brutal and unkind to many people in general. So, but getting back to my original idea here with anger, it's just, you know, I see a lot of people getting angry for dumb, stupid reasons. People I don't know very well. People either online or people that I have known that just, you know, like, I'll just say this: if you're any person between the ages of, I don't know, 14 to 90. 90-ish, you know what I mean? If you're a teenager or an adult, especially if you're an adult, especially if you're an older adult, or middle-aged adult, if you get a lot on your plate, it's like making you really go crazy. What does some person who, you know, cuts you off in traffic, what do they have to do with all the things that you have to deal with? Really? I could put this on myself. They don't have anything to do with your life. I mean, not directly. Now, if you don't want to hit that person to the best of your ability, you don't want to smash their car. Or you could think to yourself, if you're wealthy, oh, I have tons of insurance. You don't want to be that kind of person. Come on. But, yeah, there's a lot of adults that act like children. And there's a lot of people that are way too stressed out these days. And what happens when you're way too stressed out or you don't have proper ways of venting your anger? When I say proper, I mean something that isn't going to hurt someone. Yeah, we have people with these pent-up anger issues and ongoing frustrations with things that, you know, they don't check their temper at the time that they wake up. These I don't know, because you shouldn't even take it out on your family. Well, you know, you have to be the grown-up a lot of times, and I'm including myself, I don't think we always act like grown-ups on YouTube. We don't. Because what? Because it's not real life, so we can just say whatever we want and ignore, block, done with it, you know, kind of thing. Is that what's going on? Is that why we act the way we do on YouTube? We can just, the heck with them. I'm gonna act like a total douchebag, right? Well, you know, you continue this train of thought on your own. I'm just saying that, you know, the more that someone socializes on YouTube, even if they socialize just a little bit, but the more that someone's world revolves around this way of being, and believe me, I'm talking about all social media, not just YouTube. The more that someone just says this, I'm trying not to poke fun at Generation Z folks. I'm trying not to poke fun just at younger folks in this regard. But the more that you just socialize in a way that, you know, you say, these are my in friends or these are my not friends, and you have your little box of friends and you have your own little comfort zone. That comfort zone is very shaped by other companies like Facebook, right? Who are they to even butt in your life like that? I haven't really, you know, it just think about it, folks. Think about it. You know, one of the reasons I like YouTube is because you can see actual, you know, videos from people. You can actually hear their voice inflections. You can actually hear their emotions. It makes it a lot more real. It's like Marco Polo. But maybe it has just a bigger audience. So, and you can meet other people, and Marco Polo is kind of just a more interactive Facebook. That's much better, I think, in my opinion. But you can go into other kinds of technologies I haven't used yet. But yeah, I mean, like, social media is ridiculous. But it's kind of a social media and anger train of thought here. If you're not a person who's very calm, if you're more prone to being emotional sometimes, maybe this is a good thing to think about. I'm including myself here, but many of us that can be more sensitive or emotional, we do things to calm ourselves down. And one of them involves, if we're on YouTube, watching videos of people that are calmer most of the time, or people that just try to tell you, hey, don't sweat the small stuff, or, you know, I don't know, something perhaps more hippie-ish in a way, but whatever it is, you know, the message, the vibe is, you're okay, just like I'm okay, we're all okay, more or less, and it's going to be fine, and take it down a notch or two. Let your heart kind of, you know, exercise is good for getting the heart going. Exercise is probably better than getting worked up and angry, you know. So, I might end this video soon. I don't know. I might just head back to my place. This is just a nice little kind of road here. Like I say, it's kind of a toasty day. I mean, it's like seriously 90 degrees. 90 degrees in Kenmore, Washington. We're close to we're not too far from Canada, and it's like, feels like California. Of course it is, it's true, it is almost August, but kind of in the middle of summer in a way, but I'm like, I got to the point where I don't even, it feels more like high 70s. It's really muggy today. It doesn't really feel 90. I mean, it's almost like a daily thing right now. It's just, I almost got used to it a little bit. Granted, I still feel a little bit sluggish, but looking forward to at least a half a week or so from now, everything's being not quite as muggy and toasty. So some other thoughts I have. Well, believe me, I have tons of them. This is going to be kind of a wide variety of stuff here. Some people on YouTube don't put anything out about their own lives or their own thoughts about very many things. Some people prefer to be comedians and whatever. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Except, just follow me here for a second. This is kind of deep. Okay, we've talked about anger, we've talked about all that. That's all done with. Now, in this train of thought, I'm talking about this idea of different kinds of communication in general. I can put another video about communication, believe me. Just with my own life. Understanding other people, that's what I'm talking about. But when you're talking about something on YouTube, it's online, you're trying to understand other people, they say that they're this way or that way, they have a certain way of being on their videos, you more or less buy it hook, line, and sinker. You realize that comedy is often tongue-in-cheek and sarcastic, and acting comes into play with some people on YouTube, and or to some extent or another, it's like a personality that someone plays maybe when they're on YouTube, but isn't too far removed from the real life character personality, but it definitely has some things in common with their real personality. Otherwise, they probably would have a hard time being very convincing, that other kind of personality. So all that train of thought. Actors do the same thing. Some of them get a little bit interesting, like Jim Carrey maybe, but Hollywood's another subject. So I'm talking about what kind of content do you put on YouTube if you want to go that direction. If you don't want to talk about things that are just intellectual or professional or whatever, if you want to talk about other stuff or put out other content, and the nature of that content reflects on your own personality and character. What do you put out? You know, just fun things. Do you put out philosophical stuff? Like there's somebody I know who on YouTube is quite a bit older, who kind of reminds me of my philosophy professor I had at community college, but in many respects he does. It can be a little hard to follow him, but not too hard. He's an older gentleman, really nice. And so sometimes I just listen to his voice just to go to sleep. Not really, I mean, on occasion, but you know, there's people like that. And so, like, you have to figure this out for yourself, but I'm just saying that there will come a point in time, if it hasn't already come to be the case for some, that you find that the person that you thought had a certain personality on YouTube wasn't really the person that you really thought they were. Because it's, you know, we're always trying to understand people better in real life. It's that much harder to understand someone online fully. Now, if you can see into their character, you can see into someone's character and personality somewhat online. You can, but not to the extent that you can understand someone in real life. I find like I have to keep explaining this to people over and over again, especially people that are younger. You cannot understand someone as well online as you can in real life. It is simply impossible. It is not possible to understand someone as well online compared to real life. Okay? That's kind of the safety blanket. That's kind of the protection. A lot of people have trust issues with other people. You know, it makes a lot of sense. I believe I'm talking about all kinds of things in this regard, not just the obvious things, perhaps, but in this regard. But you know, either you, or you can do both. You can have the funny, whatever. You know, you can have there's videos that aren't quite as revealing about yourself, and then you can have the ones that are more revealing about yourself, and you know, whichever way you want to go, people have to still keep realizing that they need face-to-face communication in real life, in their lives, right? We all need that. We need it to be emotionally healthy, right? It's great to see something and say, whoa. The next step is, you know, if you really want to meet someone, we should be open to meeting someone that we meet on YouTube, so long as we know enough about the person that we could say, oh, I want to spend more time with this person. That's just fine. But there's probably a lot of things that we want to know about this person, a fair number of things, before that happens. But in real life, we just seem to come across people, you know. We don't know them. We make impressions of them pretty quickly. But why is it that we're able to make those impressions quicker in real life than online? Well, because we can see their face, we can see their eyes, we can kind of get an emotional reaction or emotional impression right after that from their eyes and their face and everything else you want to pay attention to about someone. Or, you know, everything from how they smell to their voice, what their voice sounds like. And by the way, someone's just playing piano. I'm like, oh, nice to meet that person. Anyway, hopefully this has been food for thought, because there's just so many knuckleheads on YouTube. I keep coming across them. I'm sorry. I just have talked to so many people now on YouTube, and it's one of those trends. They seem to think, I know it's a younger thing, they seem to think that they can understand everything there is to know about someone via what they have online. If they don't have any content, it's because they're trying to protect their own privacy sometimes, or they just rather see something else, right? That's fine, but it's this assumption that they will understand, will understand everything there is to know about someone, based on their limited experience with the person online. I'm going to maybe make this guy a little bit longer, this video, because I think I have some more things to say about this. Most people don't have the patience, a lot of people don't have the patience, I think, to really get to know someone these days, in general. And some of us have a hard time, just in general, with just people in general, trying to deal with other people. And some of us that are more sensitive or brainy or eccentric or naturally eccentric in psychological ways or other ways, I don't know. And so, some of us really get shook up about you see this argument that happens. I mean, there was one time I passed by a heated argument and I called the cops. I just kept driving because I wanted them to deal with it. I was afraid that some woman was going to get smacked through the hospital because some guy was going to, beat her up or something for some. And so maybe, I don't know if I overreacted. I just know that I'm not from New York City. New York, I don't know, some places there's some very aggressive behavior that often occurs and nobody thinks anything of it until someone pulls a gun on someone. I don't know. I'm only guessing here. I never grew up in the inner city, so. But, anyway, getting back to communication with other people. So, I'm just concerned about the number of people these days that seem like they can just interact with the world socially in a way that it used to be that you watch TV, you watch kind of what you wanted to watch, but there weren't really a lot of options. And we had cable, then we had, of course, the premium channels. Then we had the internet, and now we have YouTube, and then we have Netflix, and now it just becomes this, there's all these different things we can do, and how we can interact with new people, often involving online media, and it's not the same as meeting someone face to face, because some other third parties involved, the folks that set up the means by which you met this other person, and they're gonna need to be supported financially, or in some respects, they're gonna need to have their own interests, and they're gonna want to sell you things, or they're gonna want to, they're gonna have people paying them to sell that company's stuff to you. And I guess I'm talking about Facebook. We don't want it to happen. It's just, so then you can try to find sites, keep trying to find websites and other sorts of things like that don't involve advertising, and will kind of respect your privacy more. And believe me, I've had this privacy conversation with other folks I know, and you might come to a point where you're just like, okay, nope, no more online media, no more social media. But let's be honest, the only people that don't do social media at all, people out in the country and really old people. Like seriously, like it's just not very common. Or you have other people that just don't want to get, just sick and tired of it. They just get away from it. Most people do some kind of social media. It's just the way things are, and that's great. But I think the important thing is not to think. A person should not allow themselves to think in a way that any social media company wants them to think, or is trying to coerce them to think. That's why I don't use Facebook. I realized, I'm like, yep, Facebook's trying to get me to think a certain way about the people even I know in real life. They're trying to have some kind of, I'm not sure what kind of impact on me it was, but whatever it wasn't positive. It was very comparative and kind of negative. And I didn't know. I just knew that I didn't have, I just didn't like going on Facebook anymore. It wasn't very meaningful to me. There's most people that you know in life, you don't have any bad feelings toward. Sometimes you have very good feelings toward, or even somewhat good things. But most people, let's be honest, just don't always, you're not interacting with them on a daily basis. That's okay, we all understand that. But it's just, on Facebook, if you have these gazillions numbers of friends, you might feel like you're not alone, but it could be that you are very alone, in a way. It's just the quality of relationships you have, and, we're all trying to figure out how we can, some of us having more success than others, but some of us take our friends for granted. I don't know. You tell me. And then, there's always that train of thought of, I don't know. It's not a very pleasant subject, really, thinking about these kinds of things, but, gosh, I don't know. I just know the feeling of talking to someone who is not as mature as I am, as well as talking to someone who is more mature than I am in some respects. That's something that, to me, registers pretty deeply, along with you're talking to someone that's more wicked than you are, or evil, or someone that's whatever. Their lives are darker in a way than mine. The way they're living compared to someone who's more righteous. There's that kind of feeling too, and there's many different sides to that. There's many different virtues, many different vices. So, it's not always a very straightforward thing, but and some people are just very happy. Other people, like myself, probably more contemplative. Who knows? But this communication thing, and if you already have some kind of thing about yourself that makes it hard to understand other people sometimes, interact with the bigger world, social media is like suicide for some of us. It's like, I haven't seen any of those stupid movies that have anything to do with social media directly, like Unfriended. I just saw that, the preview of that movie, and I was just like, this is probably one of the most evil and frustrating and insidious. That's actually the name of a movie, Insidious. It's one of the most vexing movie ideas I've ever heard of. Because on the one hand, I realize I don't really care anymore if someone unfriends